Look guys, we officially made it to our last ever section on MBE, and this is all we have to do today for property. Just write out an essay, which is on rap and future interests, most likely because I already did a property one yesterday. And then after that, tomorrow, I have a full MBE practice test of 200 questions. So once you're done with MBE, they literally give you a stimulated exam. And by the time you're done with MBE, especially after today, you'll be on like 197 hours. And then after you do your stimulated exam, you'll be beyond your 200 hours. So just after MBE, you're halfway through your course because Barbri has that you have to do 437.82 hours for completion of their program. So being almost at 200 for MBE shows you that you're halfway. So MBE is half of your program. So if you do MBE seriously in law school, you already be technically halfway in your program and you would need to do more practice with Adapt-A-Bar. Now, this is also an issue because some people feel like Florida's more rushed since it's closer to test day. And that's why I recommend that you do What's the Issue? So you can learn most of Florida courses that you didn't take before getting closer and closer to test day without knowing things before you actually start your official bar prep. So yeah. You know it's 4 a.m. in the morning. Always up. Always up. Okay, y'all, I am going to the library today, and to be truthful, I've been studying from home for like a lot of these recent days. I've just been very tired, very sleepy, but I've been committed to doing my work, and then right after I go to bed. Like, I haven't been staying home to like not do my work. I've been staying home to do what I need to do and get rest. I am very sleepy and drained right now, but today I have an essay. It's on future interests and rap and stuff. I already know that's not a strong suit of mine, although she did do a good job making rap and stuff like that digestible. I just need to really review before starting that essay. I already did my 25 multiple choice questions for property from MBE. I can say that I did not get the best scores on property and contracts for that, but I know why, and it's literally a direct correlation. Before I did those practice tests, I used to go on Adapt-A-Bar a lot and do a ton of questions. So by the time I got to the end review 25 question test quiz thing, I would be getting a lot right based on what I learned from Adapt-A-Bar even more. But for the last couple of videos, property and contracts, I have not really been doing as much Adapt-A-Bar questions. So instead of getting my questions wrong on Adapt-A-Bar and then improving my score on the practice test through Barbri, my practice test on Barbri is like my real main exposure to questions right now. And that led to both me not getting the best scores. So I realized, like, do Adapt-A-Bar in between those tests. That way you can really test yourself. And I always pretend like it's a mini exam to see how much I get right. And this time I've been, like, sleepy. Like, today I was sleepy. I went back to bed, actually, y'all. And I kind of woke up, did, like, questions, went back to sleep, did questions. So I was out of it. But I noticed that I take these practice exams like as if it's a real test, and it helps measure where you're at in a subject. So really do your Adapt-A-Bar questions, because before you get to these 25 questions review, they mix up a lot of subjects from that one topic, and you can really see where you're at. For these last two topics, I don't feel like I really know where I'm at because I didn't do a lot of questions and I didn't get like a valid score that shows where I'm at since I wasn't really practicing. But I'm going to practice. That's the point of me starting early, is so that I can have enough time to learn everything. And yeah, the good thing is I finished MBE before my actual program is starting, and that's what matters. So I'm ahead of the game. I just know I need to do more questions, and it's also proof that questions are important, but also proof that do Adapt-A-Bar questions so that when you get your mini review questions exams in Barbri, you're actually testing yourself as if it's exam day and you're getting that amount of questions on the MBE. So practice makes perfect, but practice as if you're performing for exam day. So we're about to go to the library. I'm exhausted, y'all, but we gonna make it through today. Okay, everybody, I'm in the library and I'm about to review before my essay. It wants me to review the course companion and final review, read CMR and distinctions. I've been looking at my Florida companion book and it has so much good Florida law if you need it. Like, I'm about to start reviewing this once we move to Florida and just daily read it. But probably my course will go through it, so it doesn't even matter. Low-key. But I can say when you get there, I kind of looked at the book and it seems to be very helpful. Okay guys, I just finished going through majority of this review, and the review really does help you because it kind of just brings things back into your head and just reaffirms your notes and what you learned. And now I'm about to do this essay. Wish me luck. It says that with the rap and future interests, it's less likely to be tested on the multiple choice and more likely to be tested on the essay. So let's write this essay.
I ain't see your call, I ain't hear a ring. I'm in the studio, call you when I leave. Who I'm with, I know you fucking lying. Where I'm about to go, I'm about to go outside.
Okay, you guys, I just finished my essay, and bro, it's always scary when you have to start your essay, but then when you do it, you realize how much your brain really knows. Even if you don't know a legal definition by heart, you'll realize you know the issues, you know how to explain the issue, you know what to put on paper. It just might not be the complete rule statement, but you know you can do something. But also after you do these essays, go review and look at your rule statements for that topic. Go review your MBE or Florida outline on property, because that's what I did today, and get those rules more in your head. And the good thing about like these graded responses is that it tells you what your score would be if you would have been taking the exam. So it lets you know where you're at. And then something else that they really tell you to do in this course is make your essay as readable as possible. Don't put everything in one paragraph. Break it down. They tell you write as if you're writing to a tired examiner. Do not put heavy paragraphs. Make the heading, make the rules stand out, make the issue stand out, make everything so easy to find. The harder it looks to read, imagine they're reading 500 people's, thousands of people's. When yours is too together, when yours is too condensed, when yours doesn't look easily findable to find answers and rules, you're giving yourself a disservice, okay? Remember, you're writing to a tired brain. Make sure that on test day you realize it's not just about knowing the rules, it's also about format and your analysis. And remember to always tie your analysis to your rules. Always. See you guys soon. So for this property essay, they're talking about wills in here, they're talking about homestead, all things we have not gone over yet. And this is why I firmly believe that you need to be doing your essay rule statements every day, because for Florida specifically, because your program will take into consideration Florida law even if you haven't gone to the Florida part, because you have the Florida parts in your book. So do your Florida rule statements, start learning those, get a Florida outline, because you won't really know how good you're doing on your essays unless you're studying Florida every day. And I am doing my Florida essay flashcards, but I started with con law, so it has nothing to do with property. But I bet you that once I know my property essay rule statements by heart, this would be easier to attack, because I missed a lot of points due to not knowing Florida's law specifically. And that is why I actively do my rule statements every day, so that when I am done with all my essays, rule statement learning, every time I practice doing an essay, I should be getting a lot of rules right, a lot of essays right, attaching things together. And one thing I will say is it starts to make sense on why a lot of these topics are mixed in an essay form, because this property thing is based on a contract. Now you have to know contract principles, now you have to know property, a little bit of wills, a little bit of family if you're married. Say you're doing torts and there is an expressed warranty. That could be a little bit of contracts, that could be a little bit of torts. So a lot of these concepts really mix together. They really do. So don't be surprised in your essay when you have a bunch of the same things starting to merge. You have to really be thinking outside the box and really be pulling every topic together. But of course, your essay will focus on one main topic, but there'll be side topics. I'm just glad I'm learning my essay rule statements. I'm not mad at my score just because I know that every day I'm actually trying to learn my rule statements, and one day I'll have everything jotted down on paper. And then I'm just gonna be doing practice of essays like every day to make sure I'm finding my rule statements. I'm knowing them, I'm reviewing them, and whatever I missed when I write them out and I really know everything, I'm just gonna go in and keep reading whatever I didn't add and just keep drilling in my head. So I'm not mad. And don't just like read your rubric of what you didn't do in your own essay. Make sure you go back and read the model answer too. Aww. Next I have to do my review for the 25 property questions that I did. And this is what I mean when I say print out your worksheets, because I make so much notes on these. And this is what we're about to do next. And then I'm done with this for the day. and then I'm gonna start studying my rule statements. I don't know why I started with common law. It's like harder for me to memorize because that was my weaker subject, but I guess that's a good thing because honestly, I don't think it'll take me long to remember towards contracts, property by definition, even family. I think my hardest to remember is con law and Florida con law. So after this, I'm gonna do like my easier subjects to at least get like 6 down and then go to my harder subjects again closer to time so that I can make sure I'm at least balancing knowing a lot of other things. But yeah, just giving you guys my plan. See you guys soon. Well, actually see you right now. I'm about to do this review.
Make sure nobody sees you leave. Hood over your head, keep your eyes down. Tell your friends you're out for a run. You'll be flushed when you return. Take the road less traveled by. Tell yourself you can always stop. What started in beautiful rooms ends with meetings in parking lots. That's the thing about illicit.
Okay, everybody, I just finished doing my multiple choice thing from property, and I do understand majority of what questions I got right and wrong. Normally, like when I go over these stimulated test things, I always know the answer is right after I get an explanation. But for property, I will say there's 3 that even with the explanation, it didn't click 100%. So I know that I need to do a lot more property questions. And something that I learned in one of the practice review videos was during your exam, read the call of the question and look at the answer choices so you know what subject you're in before you go into reading the passage. So that you're not just taking facts and trying to see what it is, but you're like, oh, this is contracts. And then you put on your contracts mind before you go into reading the passage. Property is pretty straightforward as a subject. It's just a lot of definitions and it's not interesting. Even as he was doing the review, he's like, people struggle with property because it's boring. It's not exciting material to learn. So you just have to be okay with just hearing and knowing definitions. But if you get the definitions down, you'll be fine. Most of property is landlord-tenant law, periodic tenancy, year-to-year tenancies, things like that. It's also easements, covenants, negative restrictions, licenses, profits, things like that, as well as fee simple and stuff like that. But that's like a smaller portion. Oh, deeds, mortgages, contracts, everything with that, and things along those lines. The property professor was very straightforward. She even sings for you. She does a good job trying to get things in your head. I will say it's important to know the little differences between like an easement and all these things. So probably gonna do flashcards for that. A lot of these things, it's just about knowing what you can and can't remember. And whatever you can't remember, write flashcards out. Put it, list in a notebook of property and all the things you struggle with so that you know. Like every subject you go over, you should know what your strengths and weaknesses are. For torts, I already told you guys, I have a problem trying to remember licensee, trespasser, unknown trespasser, invitee, what's the differences. As you can see, I can remember the concept. I just can't remember the exact definitions of all. For Civ Pro, I have a problem with the dates. For common law, I have a problem with remembering which amendment applies to what. For contracts, I have a problem remembering what's a specific rule for merchants. Property, I have a problem remembering what's the different elements for an easement versus everything else and what are the different types of easements and what are those definitions. And for crim law, I have a problem remembering what's the different insanity test. And so that means I should be having notes somewhere on all those subjects, whether it's flashcards, whether it's in my notebook, whether it's something, that's the things I need to be remembering. So make sure you know what you need to remember. Like I said, Property Lady was very good at teaching. MBE was very straightforward. I can't believe we're coming to an end of this series. I am very drained. Every day now will be like preparing for the Florida bar portion by remembering my essays, going back to doing and reading essay issues, looking at the answer, as well as practicing multiple choice and remembering my essay flashcards. We are now at 198.1 hours. Wait. Something else I wanted to add. When you go over your 25 question multiple choice things from your program with Barbri, I never have what I had as my answer choice while I go over it because I kind of take that as an opportunity to do a second exam, but hearing the questions from a professor stating it, seeing how they explain it, connecting the dots, to go with the rule, and then I go look at the answer choices and I see what I pick after knowing the rule and I apply it. I don't look at what I got right or wrong. I just see if it's intuitive for me. And sometimes I'll see that then I'll look at an answer and already know what it is, and those are the answers I know I'm strong in. And then the ones where I don't know still, I'm like, okay, this is where I get shaky. And then it makes me pay more attention to it. So when you kind of go over your review of a course again with your professor is doing the whole explanation thing, act as if you're doing a test again. Don't know your answers. See what you choose as they go through the question and see if the answer is still intuitive to you, or if you know that you don't know it and that's exactly the question you probably got wrong. So yeah. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, doing my multiple choice questions for property just gave me a big confidence boost. I was a little nervous, but I knew it's because I didn't practice. But I remember at the firm I worked at for IP, they told me the biggest advice they have is to fail forward. And that's what I'm doing with the bar, failing forward every day. And you're not gonna be your best, you're not gonna know every answer, but as long as you're failing forward, or just moving forward every day, really. In the beginning of my property multiple choice, I was getting like a lot wrong. Like I went from wrong to right. And that's why I just say you need to like repeatedly practice, because if you sit there and keep doing questions, you're gonna catch on to why you got a question wrong. It's gonna retest you on something. It's gonna add a new element, see if you can catch on. And practice is the only way you're gonna get through this exam. If I don't tell you anything, because it's like my last MBE video, practice is the only way you're going to get through this exam. 90% of the time, even when I took MBE in law school, I thought like, ooh, I know the law. When I saw the questions, I was like, oh, I don't know this exam. Not until I started doing a mixture of knowing the law and practicing the exam. For Florida essays, it's funny because at first I was like, oh, I'm better at essays than multiple choice. But now I did the whole MBE and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm pretty comfortable. Now I'm scared for the essay. But that just shows you what happens when you practice and when you work towards something. Your confidence will replace your scaredness. So now I'm more scared about the essays because that's what I haven't worked on and fully memorized, versus the MBE where I'm like, okay, I have an idea of how to do this. I just need to keep practicing. Versus the essay, which is like a whole new thing where I'm like, oh gosh. So whatever you're not doing, that's natural for you to be nervous about. It's just the only way to get over your nerves is through proof of doing it. And that's what I've learned about from doing MBE, because at first I was more afraid of the multiple choice. Something else I realized is that taking some electives in law school will help you, like admin law helped me for con law when it came to like intelligible principles. It just built a little bit on it and it gave me a little bit of a stronger understanding. Surprisingly, my internship with the disability clinic helped me with property because there was a section on fair housing and the Civil Rights Act and not being able to discriminate based on race, religion, things like that. And I learned that in disability law under the Fair Housing Act. So some classes you will take in law school will help build. If you struggle with property, then take real estate transactions. I actually think real estate transactions is more similar to the bar course than property, because real estate transactions in the bar course kind of have more modern takes like deed, mortgages, when in law school property we're learning more about fee simple or easements, which easements is very heavily in your bar exam, but it's like real estate transactions as a course goes over the other half that's on the bar. So if you struggle in property, take real estate transactions because it'll give you a better understanding of property. Plus, that course is more in sync to the bars course as well. I feel like I struggled with property because I'm pretty young, never owned anything before and things like that. And, you know, my teacher taught it in a way as if like we've already owned a home or things like that. For property, it was a big disconnect for me because most people in my class, I was part-time, were adults. So I wasn't understanding. He would be like, you know, when you guys signed a mortgage, hello, sir, 24. Didn't sign a mortgage. Like, so that did not help me. But I will say that Barbri, and even my real estate transactions, because most of my class in that class was like 20-year-olds. So my teacher taught it from the perspective of one day we will do that. And so that helped me because my other professor was teaching us as if we already knew that because of the demographic of my class. So yeah. Everything will come into fruition in the end when it comes to the bar. I really believe that take whatever you learned from your courses and it will come out. Even if you didn't think you learned from a class, you did. Something else I will say is that I believe if you really want to get ahead of the bar, you should start with supplements before your early access starts. And the moment early access starts, that's when you need to just focus on early access. And whatever you don't understand, you need to use your supplements. I would use Adopt a Bar for Professor Grossman for MBE, and I would use What's the Issue for topics you don't understand from Professor Grossman and Professor Shandon for FBE, which they go over both essays and the multiple choice. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything out. Right now I'm about to go on a drive and you guys are going to see, since I did into my flashcards yesterday, I'm going to listen to my voice recording of myself going over con law, and that's how I keep just making learning a part of my day. I'm sorry if I couldn't remember every little detail about what I've done. I did try to give you guys the gist as this is coming to a close of the series, but guys,
I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first, Lucius.
And I promise you.
just know I'm rooting for you. This is why I did this for you. For you watching. I did this for you. So make sure I get a subscribe out of this and a like. Engaging with my content really helps me, you guys. Like, even if you take from my videos, it's hard as me as a content creator if you guys don't comment, if you guys don't like, if you guys don't subscribe. So if this really benefits you, I'm asking you to really do those things so that I can feel motivated to continue making this kind of content. Okay guys, we are about to go on our drive and listen to me do more learning. Standing. Issue of whether the plaintiff is the proper party to bring a matter to court. Must have standing at all stages, including appeal. Plaintiff must allege and prove that he has been injured or imminently will be injured. The plaintiff must show causation and redressability. He must allege and prove that the defendant caused the injury so that a favorable court decision is likely to remedy the harm. A plaintiff cannot assert claims of others, of third parties, who are not before the court because plaintiffs must be present. Third-party standing is allowed if there is a close relationship between the plaintiff and the injured third party, which means the plaintiff can be trusted to adequately represent the interest of the third party. Doctors can represent the interest of their patients. The non-custodial parent does not have standing for a child. Third-party standing is allowed if the injured party is not likely to assert their own rights. An organization may sue for its members if 1. The members would have standing to sue. 2. The injuries are germane to the organization's purpose. And 3. Neither the claim or relief requires participation of individual members. Okay guys, so I just listened to some of my con law statements, and honestly, it's something about hearing your own voice that makes me understand even more. I really do recommend creating voice messages for your essay statements because I really feel like because I handwrite my own flashcards, because I listen to my own voice, it sticks in my head. It's like no one knows me better than me. And when I hear me talk, I listen. So yeah. Before I end this vlog, I'm gonna give a couple more tips. I'm trying to remember everything, guys. It's so much. Some notes I have about essays is that not all issues are weighed equally, so whatever is heavily focused in your essay fact patterns, make sure you focus on that, and you want to hit those essay statements, whatever is more heavily being tested. You need full and clear rule statements. Make sure you use buzzwords in your essays for your rule statements. Like, for example, if we're in torts and we're talking about proximate cause, you want to make sure you mention the word foreseeability. If we are talking about actual cause, you want to make sure you are mentioning but for tests. You want to use the buzzwords. For essays, it says you, in your analysis, use specific facts. Don't over summarize. So if they're like, the plaintiff was driving a vehicle and crashed a car. Okay, well, if the facts say the plaintiff was 8, that's very relevant. You need to be like, the plaintiff was 8 years old when they crashed the car. This would prove why they wouldn't or would be liable based on like standards based off their age, XYZ. So you want to be very specific with your facts. And to really end this video, I just want to say that I know I talked about supplements a lot, but your program starts with MBE and then it goes to Florida. A lot of people feel like Florida was rushed in the end because you're learning close to test day. So if you do want to pick a supplement to start with, if you're going to start with something before your early bar prep opens, maybe start with Florida because you're going to make it through MBE. The question is, how much are you going to make it through Florida law? So make sure if you want to start with something, start with maybe FPE. That's food for thought. But thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the end of my bar prep series. Thank you guys so much for staying in this journey with me. And make sure you subscribe, you comment, and go back and watch videos. Know that if you're studying for the bar, you are not alone. You will be overwhelmed. You will have hard days. Push through those days and you will make it on the other side because you know why? You want to be an attorney and that's what matters. See you guys soon. After the bar. Maybe. I'm just kidding.